All right. Hey, Algebra 1. Good to see you. Did you miss me yet? Did you miss me? I don't know. Happy summer. My guess is you didn't miss me too much. You've been enjoying yourselves here. And anyways, I'm just sending out this follow-up email because, guys, as I've told you all along, we've done so much this year. We've looked at so many different things. We got to every single unit that I wanted to get to at the beginning of the year. So you guys are set up. You're not going to be behind. You're going to hit the ground running next year in geometry or algebra 2. And you've seen enough, you've done enough this year, and you did a really good job. And I had a lot of fun with your class here, Algebra 1 this year, first block. So pat yourselves in the back. Hey, I know kind of, if I were in your position though, right, just had that year of distance learning, kind of the math nerd in me would probably want to know, well, I know that wasn't a full year, right? Meaning like, I know that we didn't cover as much stuff as we normally cover in a normal school year. So the math nerd in me might be asking, well, hey, what was some of that stuff? What was some of that stuff that maybe I would have seen in a normal year that perhaps I haven't really seen this year? So what I've done is I've gone to this website here, which somebody in this class actually informed me the existence of, and I looked through this Algebra 1 section that we have up here. And there's a whole bunch of stuff, okay? A whole bunch of stuff. So I went to look at this here, and I looked at this, when I heard about this, I was like, this IXL website, Algebra 1, this is like everything. This is everything that I could ever imagine being like taught in any Algebra 1 classroom, okay? So my point is, not all this stuff would get covered in a normal year, right? In any school, right? They're not gonna cover all this. There's actually 384 skills in this. And some of these are Algebra 2 skills, some of these are geometry skills. They're just things that maybe some teachers somewhere would touch on, but I don't touch on all the stuff in a normal year. So anyways, in a normal year, we can't teach 384 skills, but we can get a bit close to that 384 than maybe we got this year. So here's my recommendation in case you want to do a little bit more math this summer, in case you want to see some of the things that maybe typically in ninth graders practice in a given year. So like I'm thinking about my 11th graders this year that had me maybe 2 years ago. These are maybe some things that they got a chance to practice their ninth grade year because their ninth grade year wasn't disrupted. So what I have here is this that I put together. It's this PDF right here. The way this works is that anything in green we've done, okay? Anything that we see in green we've done, or you've done in previous classes and I know you're good to go with it, okay? So I wouldn't really bother with anything in green. I mean, you could practice some of this stuff, right? Couldn't hurt to practice factoring or practice quadratic equation solving because that was the stuff near the end of the year, the last few months of the year we were doing this. And it is, challenging, right? Which is part of the beauty of it here. So you can practice some of the ones that we have done in green. That's fine too. But my recommendation to you is to spend a few hours this summer, and you don't have to do this. I'm guessing the vast majority of folks won't do this, but I'd spend a few hours this summer looking at the things in orange, okay? 3 colors are on this here, so let me just explain the colors. 3 colors are on this. The ones in green, I think you should feel pretty good about, okay? That's pretty good. And the ones in green, those are the ones that your teachers in the future will kind of expect that you've heard about, that you kind of know. So you're in good shape for future classes. The ones in orange are the ones where I feel in a typical sort of distance learning year, people would have practiced these a little bit more. So my recommendation is maybe practice the ones in orange. They're kind of a lot, but they're kind of lumped into different categories like number sequences. There's a whole unit. We didn't do anything with sequences this year. There's another one in terms of one variable inequalities. Remember, we did 2 variable inequalities, which is actually harder than 1 variable inequalities. But anyways, we didn't really do 1 variable inequalities here, but you've probably done them in previous courses. But anyways, that's where a lot of the orange is. So maybe you just practice that for like a half hour or so, and then boom, yeah, you're good to go with inequalities. So that's kind of what I recommend. So here, like, check this out here. All these ones in green, you should feel pretty good about here. Taking square roots, cube roots, right? We did that at the beginning of the year. And end of the year, right? We're taking a lot of square roots here. Sort rational and irrational numbers. That came up at the end of the year. Classifying numbers, we didn't really talk about all the number sets, right? That's something that I would talk about and spend maybe like another day on in a normal year. But with yours, we just kind of touched on it, and I told you, hey, Algebra 2 starts, right? You're going to have a whole unit on classifying number sets. So it actually can't hurt to know about it a little bit now. So anyways, this is my recommendation to you. Hey, you can skip all the ones in green. That's fine here too. Maybe look at the ones in orange. So I got classifying numbers. I want to click open to it. It says, which one of the followings are natural numbers? Natural numbers is not something I went over with you. Would I normally go over this with my class? Yes, I would. I'd spend 5 minutes talking about some of the different numbers that I couldn't talk about this year. But I didn't talk about natural numbers. It was on that little math notes that you guys read, though. maybe take notes on that. But anyways, learn with an example. You can do that too. You can click on this. So basically, this is a question that you might not be able to answer. But I think the process of elimination, well, these are rational numbers here, right? We know because this is repeating. It could be written as a fraction, 8.7 repeating. This is written as a fraction here. So my guess is, like the natural numbers probably feel like these. Where a natural number is a counting number, okay? Natural numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It doesn't include decimals, like that are in between the natural numbers here, between integers, right? So it's positive integers, not including 0. Right? There's a whole bunch of ways you can see it here. So this is a natural number. So anyways, with doing something like this, you're just picking up a little bit more vocabulary. Excellent. And then, go on to the next one. Which one of the following is described 3? Well, I just told you that's got to be a natural number here. We learned the word integer a little bit here. I hope you know that. It's also a rational number, right? Because the 3 over 1 would be written as a fraction. That's something we talked about here. A whole number. Yeah, that feels about right. A whole number. The difference between a whole number and a natural number is the natural numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the positive integers. Whole numbers are positive integers and 0. 0 is a whole number. So 0 is the only whole number that's not a natural number. Anyways, and it's a real number too. So anyways, I don't know. Super quick, hey, you got to see some other stuff here. Okay, so, and then, we did a whole bunch of operation stuff, PEMDAS, right, practice that. Proportions, we didn't really do that too much, okay? If you took geometry this year, hopefully you got a lot of proportions out of the way and did it. So, might as well, we didn't really do that much cross multiplication. Hopefully you knew cross multiplication a bit from middle school, but I also see people making decent amount of mistakes with cross multiplication. You get it a lot in geometry, so you feel free to wait for it, but usually we get a little bit more of it in Algebra 1. We didn't get a chance to do it this year. So maybe you go down to those here. So remember, the ones in orange are ones that I feel the typical 9th grader got a chance to practice a little bit more than you guys did this year, okay? So I recommend spending a few hours going through them, okay? So here's the ones in orange: solve proportions, word problems, scale drawing, solve proportions. Anyways, those are some of the areas that I think that we didn't really practice. So solve for f and the proportion, okay? Remember cross multiplication? This is called a proportion. Their proportions are equations with equal ratios, right? Ratios are fractions here. F to 21 equals 30 to 45. So 30 to 45 is a 2 to 3 ratio. Anyways, the geometry, you learn all about it here, but feel free to, you kind of guess and check and get it. My recommendation, cross multiplication. That's probably what they're going to tell you here. So cross multiplication, you should have heard that from middle school. You get a chance to practice it here. Solve for, so this is they do cross multiplication there. I don't know, multiply. Oh, they're just multiplying both sides by both fractions. Okay, so they're recommending this. They actually don't cross multiply. So here, they say, hey, just multiply by both of the denominators, both sides. And so that's going to get rid of the denominator. And then you can solve it real quick here. Okay, so anyways, they give you some tips here. Okay, so hopefully this makes sense here. I'm not giving you more work. Hey, the ones in red, I actually didn't mention this. The ones in red, I would just skip over entirely. If you are looking to brush up, again, on things that a typical 9th grader maybe practice a little bit more than we had a chance to this year, you don't need to worry about the ones in red. It's just the ones in orange that I think, right, in a normal year, people get a little bit more practice on here. So the ones in red, this is all just geometry here. We don't do geometry in Algebra 1. The course is called Algebra 1 here, so just skip all that. That's nothing that I'd really ever touch on in a normal school year. Converting rates and measurements, customary units. Hey, hopefully you've done that before. If not, you do that a lot in chemistry and whatnot here. I would just skip over that. If you're a math nerd like me, you could probably bust through a lot of this stuff in a few hours. And I'm here too. Definitely message me any questions over the summer if you have them. I just figured I'd put this out there. Just knowing that we did a great job this year, you're set up for next year. But if you want to practice something like scientific notation, normally I'd have a lot more scientific notation problems in my Algebra 1 course in person. But, we did a lot of exponents. I think you'd understand it. All right, message me if you have any questions. Hopefully, a few people take advantage of this. Take care.